So let's set the record straight on the history of Jammu and Kashmir and Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. In 1947, when India gained independence from the British, all of the rulers of the princely states had to choose to join India or the newly formed Pakistan. The ruler of Jammu and Kashmir signed a state over to India. Prior to this, Pakistani invaders tried to forcibly take over his land, but were stopped at the current dividing line between the Pakistani and Indian parts of control of Kashmir. When the two countries went to the UN for help, the UN's first judgment was for Pakistan to remove itself completely from the entire state before any other actions could occur, which of course they never did. Pakistan immediately started diluting Kashmiri identity by encouraging the rest of its citizens to move into its part of Kashmir and remove local governance, instead controlling the region from the central government. Later in the 1990s, Pakistan sent terrorists across the border, leading to the brutal ethnic cleansing of the Kashmiri Hindu minority known as Pundits, who are the original inhabitants of Kashmir for over 1,000 years. On the other hand, India preserved Kashmiri identity through Article 370, a temporary provision of the Indian Constitution that in 1949 guaranteed special status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, saying that the state itself would hold control over all affairs except defense, communication, and foreign affairs. This was followed by Article 35A, which allowed for Kashmiris to decide who are its permanent residents and prevent any non-permanent residents from owning land in the state. And guess what? If a Kashmiri man married someone from outside of Kashmir, they retained their residency and land. But if a Kashmiri woman married a non-Kashmiri, they lost their residency and land. Now imagine if the Constitution of Texas, where I live, did not allow residents from any other state in the United States to move into Texas and buy a home, and the federal government was okay with this. This was the ludicrous situation in the state of Jammu and Kashmir until now. So, to today's liberal decriers of India's action, where were you over the past 70 years when women's rights and the rights of Pakistan's Kashmiris were shattered? On August 5, 2019, Article 370 was constitutionally inactivated by the President of India. A bill to reorganize the state into union territories with central administration rights was passed in both houses of India's parliament, drawing support even from many opposition parties. Why? Because this was the right move to curtail the corruption and violence that has perpetuated for decades in the land of Kashmir, as vast sums of money from subsidies to the state from India were being hoarded by so-called Kashmiri leaders. Secondly, the status quo for over 70 years under the temporary Article 370 had failed utterly in bringing peace, security, development, and human rights to its people, including the Muslim majority as well as the religious minorities in the valley. And finally, the state had fallen into a rut of dynastic rule led by a few prominent Muslim families that had looted the state of its wealth, leading the NGO Transparency International to label the state as the most corrupt in India. And in 2006, Ambassador David Mulford said, "Kashmiri politics is as filthy as the Dal Lake had become." Normalcy can finally now return to Kashmir. Thank you.